So right now I'm going to go over some stabilized decomposed granite and some prefabricated concrete pavers. So you can check this out. We have a little pathway kind of meandering through here. Between here is the stabilized decomposed granite. It's it's originally mixed in with the decomposed granite. You have a stabilizer, a powdered stabilizer. So when you spread it out and you tap it down and water it down, it becomes a pretty hard surface. You know, it's not a fully hard surface. It does drain a little bit, not too much, but it's a nice look. You know, it's kind of a deserty type style. They have tortoises, so you know, kind of a nice material for them to pee on and stuff. You know, pretty much in all our planter areas, we want to do a weed fabric and a gravel or a mulch or wood chip or something so they drain, right? You don't really want to plant in DG too often. If you really like the deserty style, maybe, but it doesn't really drain very well and you don't really get the water, and the irrigation gets a little bit clogged in the DG. So of course in the planter, I don't want to bring the DG all the way up to the edge, right? I want to just bring through a gravel or something that'll drain in here, right? And then we have a, you know, for straight lines, most of the time we use a 2x4 pressure treated wood edging that you just saw. So it lasts a lot longer in the ground and it's a nice straight line. For our curved lines, we usually use like a bender board edging or black metal or something like that. So we have this kind of natural-ish, you know, looking 2x2, these are 2x2s, prefabricated concrete pavers. So we just buy these, we put in a little base and shove it in the ground, then we put the DG up against the side, compact it so they become, you know, so they don't wobble and stuff, you know. A little bit more edging there. And this coming through here. I don't know what happened here. I think that's bird poop. So it might be a spot for the birds in the tree or something. I'm not sure. So this actually leads into a nice solid dark charcoaly gray flagstone. A fantastic choice from this customer. And we did very minimal gaps on this. Now gaps like this do come with a cost. So if you want gaps like this where it's basically nothing, then we need to make sure that that's in budget and everything. You know, and this isn't a cheap flagstone either. You know, this is a solid, usually most solid color natural items are just going to come with more of a cost because it's more rare. You know, most natural rock and stone and stuff have different hues in it. So getting things that are a single solid color are also more of a cost. So this is a bit of a pricey patio in here. We cut back on the cost a little bit by not doing a mortar. We did like a road base beneath, which is a compacted, you know, small stone and clay mix that's just pressed down. So not great drainage beneath this or between it because the DG doesn't have great drainage, but the drainage here comes with the grading, which we have done very nicely away from there and coming through this way here. So yeah, again, you know, your more standard pricing for a flagstone that's not going to get too out of hand would be this kind of install. Maybe DG or a rock between DG is kind of nice because it holds things together very nicely and they don't wobble so much. And you do like an Arizona or like a more tan standard flagstone that you could buy anywhere, of course. So there's all sorts of options. We can do whatever you want, but more budget friendly, this is not. And it'll have more like 2-inch gaps or something between. And something like this, we literally cut every single side, every single angle of every single stone to get it so close, you know. And it's an awesome custom job. If you want it like that, we can do it, as you can see. We actually built this little raised rock wall here with their own rocks from back here that were already back here and some from the front. They had a whole bunch up front. So we like doing stuff like that, using stuff around the property. You know, rocks aren't cheap, you know, so these big rocks like this, you know, I don't like to toss them really, especially when you have so much space on the property. You'll see the front later on in a different video. And then we have just your charcoal gravel coming through. It matches that nicely. And, you know, there's several gray, light gray, and charcoaly gray hues all over the house. So we got a lot of grays going on. They really wanted the grays, and we got it for them, you know. There's another thing that's kind of a solid color, you know. A lot of gravels are going to be more speckled like this. But that's like a solid dark gray charcoal gravel. Definitely one of my favorite gravels. Goes with all sorts of styles if you want some grays and stuff, but really it is more of a contemporary style thing. If you want to swap out those gray Mexican pebbles that you see everywhere at the contemporary houses and kind of Asian contemporary houses, you don't want to spend so much on the pebbles. Good alternative right there. And here's my friend coming at us. I'm sure he wants some lettuce or a carrot or something. Let's see if I can give him a little pet. He's a good guy. What's up, man? How you doing? I don't have any food, but I do have a pet for you if you want. Hey, how you doing, buddy? They have 2 really good tortoises here, and they love this yard. Another good reason to have it stone all the way through, kind of with a little bit of drainage with the DG, so they don't have to step in the cracks and trip over stuff. We have another one of our friends right over here. Maybe I can give him a pet too. He's a little more shy. You see he's kind of poking his head back in there. But they're really good tortoises. They aren't snapping turtles or snapping turtles or anything like that. They could bite your finger right off if they wanted to. He's not being too friendly right now. This guy obviously is my best friend, and I'm gonna pick him up now. What's up, man? Hi. Amazing little creatures. Basically a dog, but a little slower. And just over here, they just wanted kind of an area where the tortoises couldn't really get into over here. It was kind of actually set up like this already with all the wood coming through, but it was deteriorating and rotting and stuff. So we just brought in some nice thick cedar through here actually, just to get you a little more natural color than the pressure treated wood. So that just boxes that guy off, and it boxes this off, and we could bring in the gravel to fill this in. This is just your standard pea gravel here. So like I was saying, a more natural stone there. More standard stone, but it's cool looking, man. And they got their little Buddha guy right there. He's great. And you know, the tortoises can kind of make it up to the second step. They can't really get over there, you know, so we had to kind of rig this together a little bit, but it came out nice, you know. And you know, that's it for my, you know, prefab 2x2 concrete pavers, a little bit on DG, and a little bit on some more flagstone with those minimal gaps.